Hi, well, we're all University of Sioux Falls students who read Dr. Higgle's book, Partnering with the King. And I think we all really agreed on a few things that we were really challenged by this book and encouraged, and it really caused us to stop and examine what this term partnership means.
Yeah, and we see right off the bat that to be a disciple is to enter into this surprising partnership with the King where we're called into relationship with Him, and through the beginning of the book, Jesus talking to His disciples and saying, go feed the 5,000, even though they're unable, but we see the value of our role in that and how challenging then that step in obedience can really be.
Right, there's this very, very real idea of being obedient to Jesus, to what He's saying, to what He's asking of people who follow Him. That being a disciple, partnering with the King, doesn't stop at just saying, hey, I believe in you, doesn't stop in just saying, hey, Jesus, you're a good teacher, but Jesus, you're Lord, and my life is going to be changed and just radically just guided by who you are and what you're calling me to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely a call to obedience when you read Matthew and when you're challenged by this book, and just as you learn Jesus' character, you can't read it and not examine yourself and examine your walk with Him and see if you're really following Him or if you just say you are. And I think another great thing about it is the way that Dr. Higgle actually wrote this book, and he used his own real life experiences, and he made himself, a real guy, not someone who is smarter than us all because he's a teacher and an author.
And I think that's one of the strengths of this book is the ability that Dr. Hill can have to come down to maybe a level of just explain the text in multiple ways. It's not about all of the systematic theology and things that are just shooting right over my head, but I can understand who Jesus is through other ways, and Dr. Higgle really especially explains what partnering with the King means, I think.
Right. He goes about doing it, presenting what it means to partner with the King in many different ways. It's saying the same thing, but it's making it so relatable that you're like, okay, this is what partnering with the King is going to look like in my life. But there's this call to do something. So we've talked about obedience, talked about being challenged, talked about like going and doing. Right? There's something of that right there in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that what Dr. Higgle really brings out in this book is that where we're at in our workplace or our school, we can be disciples, and we can influence those around us through our obedience and faith, and how we're right next to the King in that, and it's an encouraging and great call. And
another thing he pointed out, and they're talking about the disciples, is they learn as they go. They don't have it all together, and we see over and over in the Gospels where the disciples have little faith and they mess up, and it's easy to get frustrated by them, when they're right there with Him. But it's just like us. We don't have it all together, and we never will, but He still wants to use us and can if we're willing to enter into that partnership with Him. So. And then another thing we had touched on too was just the idea of mission behind this, and kind of the thoughts we took from this book as far as mission goes.
Yeah, there's no staying where you're at, and people are called to be in different places, to be around different people, and so maybe that means doing overseas missions, maybe that means just being immersed in the community where you're at, but there is just this leaving your comfort zone and going into a place that people need to see who Jesus is, and they get to see Him through you and with you, and that's really cool, and that's really encouraging because He's going there right along with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, thanks, guys. Thank you. As you can see, that we were all really encouraged, challenged, and learned a lot through reading Dr. Higgle's book, Partnering with the King, and would definitely encourage everyone to pick it up and give it a read. Thank you.